Hey everyone, it's Johnny Morgan and I'm back today with another video on the S50 sampler. And today we're going to go into some of the really great features in the patch editor, and we're going to go and look at these in some detail and just look inside how you can edit a patch and edit the samples inside the S50. So hope you enjoy, and here we go. Okay, so we're going to go over the patch parameters and editing on the S50. So now that we have our sample in here, and to get into that we just hit edit mode, and you can see we're in patch parameter mode here, and there's actually 2 pages to that mode. So if you hit patch twice, you get the second page of editing parameters, and if you can toggle between it. So hitting patch again goes back to the first page. And you can see on the first page, there's split mode, tone parameters, loop mode, pitch modulation, lots of different things. And then on the first page here, we have just the sort of standard settings for the patch. I don't typically change these. Key mode is kind of an interesting one where you can swap between different variations of the way the keyboard plays the patch. Normal is typical operation. Unison takes it down to 8 voices instead of 16, and I don't really use that much. So typically leave these for the most part the same, but if you feel like changing your velocity switch threshold or anything on the particular way the patch plays, this is kind of where you do it in the main screen here. Okay, so paging on to the next parameter, we go into split mode, and this particular patch only doesn't have any splits, so it just has 1. But if you do actually have multiple tones in, you can actually split them up, and you can do that by just going down here and assigning the tone and then where it splits. You can actually see that on this page here. I'm just going to back out. But that's split mode. Okay guys, I'm gonna just take a little detour here and show you split mode and the way it works, because it is a little quirky. And what I've done here is I've loaded up a patch with some choir sounds, and I'm just gonna show you how the split point is edited. As you can see, we've got, let's go into patch edit, split, and you can see there's actually 1 split point on this patch right now, and that split point is right between D and D sharp. And as you can see, as I play the changes here, it changes between the 2 tones, tone 11 and tone 12. And on the display you'll see a tiny little tick above that where that split point is. And so what I want to do is actually go in and change that split point. And so to do that, let's just go into the edit. And we want to make sure we have our tone selected. So we're changing between tone 11 and tone 12. That's correct. And we want to change that split point. And if you notice, if I add a key in, it's going to actually put a little mark on the keyboard where I added that. So I just played a note and added a split point there. And it's got 2 little ticks on it. That's kind of not really what I want. What I want to do is actually erase the original split point and make a new one. So what you have to do is actually hold the key down and kind of overwrite that split point by keeping pressing notes. It's a bit awkward. And so there we go. So I've actually changed that split point now to between B and C. And so if we back out a page to just test that out, see now that 1 sample goes all the way up, almost gets a little crazy, and then changes over. I see now. It's really kind of a little quirky, because if you just start setting and hitting notes, you're going to get many multiple bizarre 1-note split points, and you don't really want that. What you want to do is just have predefined split points, very nice ones. So you need to actually kind of hold and overwrite the split point by continuing to press the keys down. So yeah, that's how the split points work on the S50. It's a little weird, but once you get a handle of it, it's actually a pretty interesting way to add them in the patch editor. Okay, thanks. And then loop, and this is kind of where it gets sort of fun. You can play with the loop on the sample, and as you can see on this sample, I actually already have a loop set. It's not that good, mind you, but let's have a listen to it. Yeah, you can hear it popping there. So we can go in there and edit that loop, and if you actually page down, you can see you get type 2, which gives you a little bit more of a tighter editing control on that. So actually I should probably adjust that somewhat so I can sort of make those zero crossings line up. So let's just do that quickly. Let's change the loop so it's got a bit more of a nicer zero cross. I'm just going to move it over so those match up. So now those match up pretty close. Let's have a listen. It's still pretty poppy. Let's go in there a little closer to type 3. Get really close and just see where we're at here. That's not too bad. Huh. So anyway, yeah, you can go in and adjust that. I'm not going to fiddle around with it right now because it takes a little while to get those to actually line up properly. And then let's go into the pitch mod. You can add some LFO and LFO depth and delay. You can have a delay that turns on, so if you want sort of a Rhodes effect or something like that, or organ where it kicks in after a certain time, you can do that. Envelope generator, and this thing's kind of a little bit of a beast, but it's basically you have all these set points on it and you can just manipulate them as to how you feel. So you can see I've got a pretty basic envelope here, and the rate is kind of the slope. It's actually inverse, so the higher the number, the tighter the slope that is. So for instance, on my slope of 56 here, let's change that to 30 and just enter. And so you can see that's a lower, a slower decay now. So that fades away. Let's change that back to 56. That's cool. We can add in some other points if we want. So let's add in another point of, let's just say 50 on this one. And let's get a decay of 30 on that. Let's see what happens. So that's kind of a pretty bizarre slope. I just want to hear what this sounds like. Yeah, you can hear it sort of come back up there, which is really crazy. Let's change that lower number to 127. So it should come down and right back up. It's pretty bizarre. Yeah, not something I would typically do, but you can do a lot of crazy stuff with this. Let's just do that to 0. Let's keep it down at 0. Okay, great. And the tone map, let's go to 17. The tone map is where you actually define your tones as they map out over the keyboard and the voices. So this is kind of important if you start getting into sending multiple voices out different outputs and with different MIDI channels in the, and you can change that in the sort of patch mapper, or it's multi-patch mapper in another page. So I don't really touch this that much, but if you want to get into a multi-toned, across the keyboard, and you want to patch them to different voices, and then you can then attach them to different outputs. So these actually, the voices 1 to 8 are important if you're going into something where you want multiple outputs. It gets pretty complicated. Let's go to page 2. Yeah, this is pretty basic. Delete. I'm not going to do that. I want to delete that tone. And you can kind of toggle between this just to see your memory allocation. So A's just got 1.2 seconds right now, so I've got lots of sample memory left. Let's go to truncate, and let's go down, page down. So you can actually choose to cut the sample down if you want on truncate, pretty basic. I'm not going to do that right now, but if I scroll down here, I can actually cut off some of the ending. Right now you can see there's a little white mark in the blue section where my sample is currently truncated and the length of it. Copy, so you can copy this tone to another destination, so I can actually move that over, create a destination. Let's go 12, enter, and then now if I copy it, it'll actually move that tone into tone 12. Let's just execute that. And select page back up. Should go enter. Wait. Page down. Oh, there we go. Let's execute. Enter. And you actually have to have a destination set for this to work. So there we go. So now if I go back into the main page, I should have two. Yeah, there we go. I have two tones now. So I've actually copied it into a second tone just for storage. And you can actually mix those tones together as well if you want. In 24 in the mixing. And I'm not sure what combine does. I have to go look in the manual on that one. The digital filter, a lot of people have asked about this. The digital filter is kind of crazy because you can't hear it in real time. And so you actually have to just pre-prep your sample ahead of time, which is a bit wacky. So here it draws it out, and I can change my mode. So low pass filter, high pass filter mode. And let's just do one here. Let's do a frequency. Let's up that to like, this is funny because the frequency actually only goes from 1 to 10, I think. So it's not actually any sort of frequency scale that I even know what it means. Maybe that's 10K, but I'm not 100% sure. So basically you just dial in your frequency number, and then let's just apply a bit of resonance and the level adjust, and we gotta do that. And so let's go back up and execute. The destination is going to be 12 now, so we're overwriting other sample, and let's just do that. So yeah, should work. Enter. Now we're running that. It's working. It's pretty slow. Again, we haven't heard a thing, so we don't even know what this is like. And you can see there's a readout. Yeah, so that's how it got the filter applied to it now. Awesome. Wave draw. Wave draw, I believe, is if you have the tablet, the digitizer tablet, you can actually go in now and draw some waveforms. I don't have the digitizer tablet, so not much I can do with this, but it seems kind of cool. And 28. This actually is a really cool page. It just shows you a digital representation of the waveforms you have in your banks. So currently I have the original R sample and then the filtered one, which is kind of nice to just handy overview of your waves that you've got in that particular bank, which is pretty awesome. Not sure if you can do something else with those with the digitizer because I don't have it, but that's that. All right, so let's back out of this. Let's go to play. And back to our sample. I'll have to fix that loop. And yeah, thanks for watching my video, and hope to put more up soon. Thank you.